One. Good afternoon and welcome to our Future is Female series, hosted by the Chamber and sponsored by TSYS Global Payments. We're offering this series in celebration for Women's History Month, but also we like to celebrate women year-round. We started a series several years ago and saw a tremendous success, and what better time to take that to the next level than International Women's History Month. So again, thank you to our sponsor, TSYS Global Payments, for making this possible. And thanks to these amazing folks on the panel today that are making history in our region. I'm going to turn it over to one of our board members, Lisa Smith, who is the Southwest Regional Director for Georgia Power. Lisa, thank you for your service to the Chamber Board, and thank you so much for agreeing to host these Women on the Rise today.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy, for that introduction. So excited to be here, certainly to celebrate all of the wonderful female leaders who are a part of this panel today. And I would like to introduce them. So we have Crystal Shaheed, who is with Synovus. Linda Nguyen is with Page, Scranton, Sprouse, Tucker, and Ford. We have Ashley Ginn, who's with Barnes, Gibson and Partners, Becca Zajac, who is with Dragonfly Trails, and Kelly Kerbin, who is with Anthem, Blue Cross, and Blue Shield. I know and feel confident that our audience is really going to enjoy what is going to be shared today, and I'm just honored to be in the presence of such great leadership. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So ladies, we want to give the audience an opportunity to hear a little bit about you. They've heard your titles, but I'm going to ask each of you, if you could, please share about a 30-second elevator speech on you and what your job entails. And I will just start with Linda.
Hi, my name is Linda Nguyen, and I was born and raised in Georgia. I grew up in Atlanta and went to UGA college, and then for undergrad, and then Mercer Law School in Macon. So I stayed in Georgia, and since I graduated law school, about 17, 18 years ago, I've been practicing with the same law firm here in Columbus. Page Scranton, and so we're one of the oldest and largest law firms in our region. Oh, and I have 3 children. I have a 14-year-old son, Tyler Nguyen, who is actually, no, he's 15. I'm sorry, he's 15, and he just got his learner's permit last week. Oh, man. And then it's hard to keep up. And then I have 2 daughters. It's Allie and Jessica, and they're both younger, and so they are 8 years old and 10 years old.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your background and the beautiful pictures. We appreciate it. All right, Miss Ashley.
Hi, I'd like to thank the Chamber for inviting me to be a part of this panel today and to get to be among some great women. But like Lisa said, my name is Ashley Ginn, and I work for Barnes, Gibson Partners Architects. I grew up in the Columbus area, up in Harris County, and a graduate of Harris County High School. And then I went to Auburn University to pursue architecture. So I graduated with a Bachelor's of Architecture degree, then started working in Birmingham, Alabama, for a couple of years, and was finally able to score a job in Columbus back in 2015, which brought me home, which was so exciting. So a little bit about our firm is Barnes Gibson Partners is located in Midtown, right behind Jarfly. We're about a 10-person firm comprised of architects, project managers, and interior designers. We really pride ourselves on the ability to turn our clients' vision into a reality. And we believe that like good relationships and good design come in the form of collaboration. We work on a variety of commercial projects, including multifamily, renovations, religious, education, governmental, civic, you name it, we pretty much do it. And we're lucky to work with the visionaries and the planners of Columbus, but also those silent partners that all together bring a project to life. And then just on a personal note, I'm married to my husband, John Wade, and we live up in Harris County. I am the immediate past chair of the Young Professionals Organization. And I'm also a member of the Junior League of Columbus, as well as sit on a couple other boards.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to have you, Ashley. Miss Crystal, we would love to hear about you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Crystal Pendleton Shaheed. I am a native of Columbus. So like the other ladies, a Georgia girl. But I ventured off and went off to college at Fort Valley State, got my MBA at Albany State, and then returned home almost 15 years ago. I started at Synovus in 2006 in our management associate program. And during that time, I have gone from our branches to sort of backroom and lending operations, where I actually work pretty closely with Linda. She's a lifesaver, y'all. And now I work in special assets as a loan workout specialist. So when a borrower is having maybe a difficult time in their business and they need to restructure, some debt and what they're doing, we work to help get them back on track, right? Because small businesses are the heartbeat, not only of our community, but really of our nation. And so that's really important to me from an employment perspective. You guys may know Synovus is a $53 billion bank located here in the Southeast. And for me, it's always been the bank that I've known. My grandparents banked there, my parents have banked there. So, and now I have the privilege of working there. So excited to be here with y'all today. And on a personal note, my son is 9, my oldest son is 9, Zachy. He's actually Allie's classmate. And then I have a 4-year-old son who rules the house. So my husband and I, we really just kind of chase him and kind of let him have it. Yeah.
Awesome. I think for those of us who have children, we can certainly all relate, Crystal. Thank you. Miss Becca.
Hi, thank you for the Chamber for having us, and I'm excited to be speaking on this panel with everybody and interested to learn a little bit more about you guys. But I'm Becca Zajac. I am the Executive Director of the Dragonfly Trail Network. We are Columbus's off-road greenway multi-use trail that connects communities and neighborhoods to destinations. We're a relatively new nonprofit. We came around in 2019, and that's when I kind of got on board. We partner with the city of Columbus to build trails all over Columbus, and we're actually trying to expand into Phoenix City and maybe up in Harris County as well. A little bit about me, I've been a community planner since I've come to Columbus, which was 6 years ago already. And I gotta say, I'm one of those that came here what I thought was going to be for a year and fell in love with this community and have been here 6 years and don't plan on going anywhere else anytime soon. I've met a great guy here. Miles Greathouse is my partner, and we have 2 dogs and a new house. So that's a little bit about me. And then also I am the Columbus 2025's Vibrant and Connected Places Action Area Chair, and really looking at how we improve the quality of life for people in Columbus.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Becca. And last but certainly not least, Ms. Kelly.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I myself am a Columbus, Georgia native. I've been here my entire life. I did live in Atlanta for a short stint, but came back to Columbus. I love the area. As we talked about a little bit, I am currently employed with Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I have been there for 23 years. So I've spent a lot of time in the healthcare insurance industry. I am responsible currently for our customer service operations for local large group, our affordable healthcare, and small group across 14 states. So it's a pretty large span. And even though Anthem is known locally here as a large employer, we're also known across regions. So it's really great to be able to support Columbus and be able to experience an enterprise and really get Georgia's name out there outside of Columbus. I myself have 3 children. They're a little older. So I have a 26-year-old and a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. All graduated from Columbus, right here in Columbus University. And 2 have graduated. 1 is currently going to school now. So really excited that they were able to stay in the community. My son has moved to Atlanta to pursue his career, but really hoping that he'll come back. And my 19-year-old is still here. So love the community. So glad to hear the stories. And one of the common things is the longevity here, or when you come to meet it, you fall in love and stay. So that says a lot about our community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kelly. So for those in the audience, you can certainly hear we have a very diverse panel today, whether it's community planning or banking or law, just a lot of different backgrounds represented here today. And so I really want to just kind of get down to it and share with us, who has been the biggest influence on your professional life? And I'm just going to leave it open to whoever would like to answer.
So I can start. That answer was easy for me. I knew immediately. And it's my law partner, who happens to also be a female. And she is, her name is Angela Hicks. And she's a mentor. She's like a sister. She's family to me. And she happens to be, I have a very funny story. She happens to be one of the attorneys who helped get me hired at my law firm. I had already interviewed with a big boardroom full of attorneys. It was my first interview here at the firm. And then there was a small little interview with Alan Kaminsky, who is now the general counsel of Synovus, and then Angela, just the 2 of them. They do commercial real estate. They wanted to meet me and to see if my firm hired me, whether or not they wanted to work with me and take me kind of under their wing. Well, it was from Macon. I was living in Macon, going to school there, and they wanted me to drive to Columbus. The only time they were available was a Saturday at 8 o'clock. I did not want to get lost because I'd never been to Columbus. So I showed up at 6 a.m. It was still dark in their parking lot. And they were already there. And Alan comes out knocking on my little Corolla and said, "Are you Linda?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "Well, I'm Alan. Angela's already here. You're here really early. Why don't you come on in?" And Alan and Angela said that I didn't even have to say a word. They knew they wanted me from that moment, because I showed them I was hungry, that I was gonna be a hard worker already because I showed up so early. And that really kind of sums up my relationship with Angela. She has taught me so much, and Alan too. He's taught me a lot. And before he left to become the general counsel of Synovus for many, many years, him and Angela have groomed me and taught me all the details of law. And so I do commercial real estate closings. If it's a construction loan on a $10 million, $15 million hotel construction loan, or the purchase of a shopping center, or the purchase of an apartment complex, that is what I close. And those loans are complex, detailed. It's a lot of different moving parts. And Angela, the best thing I can say she's given me is that she's taught me to pay attention to detail. That no matter what, you've got to really not focus on too much on the trees also, but focus on the big picture. And so that is definitely hands down. I've been lucky enough to work with just an amazing, amazing female in my career.
Awesome, Linda. What a powerful story. Show up early. be hungry. That was my takeaway. That is wonderful. I can't say I've ever had an interview where I didn't even have to say anything. Wonderful. Would anyone else like to share about your biggest influence?
I'll share next. There's been so many people that have influenced, who I am today, whether it be educators, coaches, or mentors. But I think my biggest influence on my personal and professional life would have to be my parents. It sounds kind of cliche, but they were small business owners that instilled the value of hard work and determination in me from an early age. I mean, my dad would get up before the sun came up, and we didn't see him until the sun went down. He's just such a hard worker. And he taught me and my sister both that nothing in life is free, that we were taught to work hard for what we wanted. And they also taught us that you never know who's watching you. So always be the best version of yourself, because you only have that one opportunity for a first impression with someone.
Very awesome. I think what you shared is kind of a universal definition of integrity. It's really what you're doing when no one's watching. And so thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I did want to shift gears just a little bit, but Kelly and Crystal, if you have, and Becca, if you want to share about your biggest influence, please feel free. But I noticed as you all were introducing yourselves that many of you are involved in the community, and it's very important to you, and it's obvious. So why is it important to you, and why should it be important to others who may be tuning in? And how would you encourage them to get involved?
I think, Lisa, if you don't mind, I'll answer this one first, because my answers for both the previous question and this question kind of tie together. So the biggest influence in my life, and we are lucky to still have him in Columbus, is Richard Bishop. He has just been an amazing community leader to many people. And similar to Linda's story, I saw the opening at Uptown Columbus 5 years ago, and I applied and sent my cover letter, and I didn't hear anything back. And I was like, I'm cookie cutter for this job. I know I'm perfect for it. And they didn't call me back initially. So I called and I said, and I talked to Richard, and I said, this was a Monday or Tuesday. And I said, I'll fly myself. I was living in Houston, Texas at the time. And I said, if I fly myself out there, will you take a meeting with me at Friday at 8 a.m.? And he said, yes, but first he said, no, kind of piddled. And he said, we have somebody already in mind, and they're local, and you're not from here, and you really don't know the community, and that's so important for this role. And I said, I'll fly myself out there. Please give me 45 minutes of your time. And so I did that. And my interview went from 8 a.m. till noon that day. And I walked out of Uptown, and I walked to what is now Barbaritos. I got, 300 feet, and they called me and said, can you meet us at Iron Bank? And they gave me the job on the spot. And so, there was an instant connection between Richard and I from the start, but he has been somebody that has mentored me and helped me learn how important community is, and how to play the best role. He's taught me the intangibles. So he is just one of those people that puts other people first. He is a leader when nobody's watching. He's a leader all the time, but especially when nobody's watching. And he taught me how to care about the community you're in. And that's so different from the corporate setting I came in. I ran international and national events for a client that was making millions of dollars, and didn't have that really personal connection to my work like I did when I came to Uptown. And so when I would work at Uptown and we threw an event, and you just saw all these people from different walks of life coming and having this wonderful evening for a Friday night concert that was free, and they were connecting with people that didn't look like them, that didn't come from their neighborhood. They were enjoying food and supporting local businesses. I mean, that to me was when something changed in my career path. And it was because of his influence and teaching me how to be a good community advocate and really put the community before yourself. So I think like he undoubtedly has changed my life for the rest of my personal and professional career.
That is so strong, Becca. Thank you for sharing that. It's, wow, that's amazing. And I'm just hearing this reoccurring theme about really putting yourself out there and being assertive when you know that you have something to contribute. I really appreciate you sharing that. Okay, Crystal, would you like to share?
Absolutely. You know, even as far back as Columbus High, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Even as far back as Columbus High, we always would hear the Latin phrase "noblesse oblige," which is "to whom much is given, much is required." And I do feel like my involvement in this community is a reflection of sort of everything that has been sowed into me over the years. So whether that's, you know, participating with the chamber or junior league, or I'm a sustainer now, so I'll serve my time there. Dealt, you know, through my sorority, or even through like our Here Matters community outreach through Synovus. It's all of the things that have been ingrained in me, not only from my parents, but in a life of service that I think is important, not only to be modeled, but to show others that if you are going to say that there's a problem in our community, you need to be a part of the solution. And the only way to be a part of the solution is to get involved, to be active, to, you know, not just show up at the meeting and complain, but come with a solution, or, you know, work towards something that provides equity for an underserved group, or something that, you know, works to try to prevent crime, or even just works with young people, because I think that is our greatest gift in this community. That's our future. These are the people who are going to be working not only in our hospitals, they're going to be our lawyers, they're going to be us, you know, from a career perspective. And so that is why I'm involved in the community in many different ways. And that's really why it's important to me, because I've seen that evidence to my parents, and that's how we were raised, you know, give back.
That's right, Crystal. So we definitely should be a part of the solution. I appreciate that. Kelly, I'd like to transition with you. You know, everyone has shared about their career, a little bit about their background, and it's obvious that you all are very busy. I can only imagine. But we'd like to hear about, just as you are growing in your careers and leading in your careers, how do you manage your work, social, all life? How do you balance it all?
That's a good question, especially in today. We're dealing with different times, right? So even with the different workforce and just our environment. So it's really important, especially with stress and being able to be successful in your career and continue your balance with being able to have time for yourself. So one of the things, as I have been on my career path, is I've always made a priority for when work is work and then home is home. And then also time for me too. So I work the me time and in between the family time. But having those time management skills to be able to be productive while you're at work, so that you have the ability to focus on the home and focus on your me time. And sometimes spending a lot of time at work, spinning your wheels and not knowing which direction, or thinking you've got to be there 10 hours. I think sometimes people get lost in that. And to me, that's part of development, and being able to help them understand how to make the most of their day so they can have that work-life balance. Because it's good for their self, it's good for their health, it's good for the organization that they're working in. They're more productive. And so I think that's so important. Sometimes I even schedule time on my calendar now that majority is work from home.
Mm.
If you have to schedule it on your calendar, schedule it.
Yes, that is so true. And so for the next person who does answer, you know, you brought up some good points, Kelly. And so during this pandemic, if you are teleworking, I don't know about you all, but I've noticed it can be 8, 9 o'clock and I'm still on because it's just, you know, not leaving the office. There is not normally a disconnect these days. And so it just adds to being intentional. So who else would like to share? How are you managing all of this?
So I would love to answer this question. It's actually my favorite question out of all of them. And I was talking about this question to one of my law partners, April Hocutt, who happens to be one of my best friends. And we talk about this every day because she has children also. But it is my number one advice to females who are juggling work, themselves, and children and family. My number one advice that I wish the me from 15 years ago knew would be to be present, and when I say be present, what I mean is when you are at work and you're doing your job and you're typing up and you're closing statements, getting everything ready, be on your A game, just like Kelly said, and give it all your 110% and do it efficiently. Because Crystal is one of my clients, and that is my number one goal, is to make my customers and my bankers happy by being efficient. And it shouldn't take a certain amount of time to close a loan. And so I have to be on my A game at work. But also when I'm at my son's wrestling tournament or my daughter's soccer tournaments, I'm not on my phone checking my work emails or talking on a conference call. So what I started doing several years ago, when what Kelly was saying, you're just getting so bogged down with work, and what you're saying, when you're 8 and 9 o'clock at night and you're still working, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret that I did several years ago that has just really been just life-saving for me, just been wonderful, is that I turned off my cell phone alerts for my emails. That is the secret for my happiness. And I highly recommend it to people, especially working moms, because I would get emails and alerts, that ding. Every time you hear that ding, you are going to want to check it. I would get it as soon as I leave work at 6 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night sometimes, if I had a closing early in the morning. And that is not how you can function as a human being. It isn't. Because if I need 30 minutes to go to spin class for me, or I need to go and take my girls shopping for some shopping time, I'm going to. And so that is my secret to success, is be present in everything you're doing, from your children to your job, to yourself, to your friends. Enjoy your time off. You deserve it. So that's my advice.
Oh my goodness. What great tips. I'm still kind of processing the turning off the alerts. That's
it's hard.
one,
It took a little while, but you will love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh my goodness.
Could I add something to that?
Yes, Dave.
I would say too, from being really young in my career, when you would think that you had to work, you know, first in the office, last to leave, working 10 hours, working on the weekends, like that kind of race of like proving yourself. One thing I've learned as I've changed different positions and grown in my professional career is when you work for an organization or a business, when you get interviewed, ask the people around them what their work-life balance is, specifically their athletic side. And I say that because in my with Richard Bishop, or my current boss is Ken Henson, both are avid runners and cyclists, and having somebody else that prioritizes, so those things are very important to me too. I work out daily, running and cycling. Having somebody in your organization or business, or somebody that you report to, that values mental health and physical health, will make you feel comfortable when you have to take those, lunch yoga classes, or you're going to be 30 minutes late for work because you decided to spend the morning on a bike. I think finding people that have similar, or at least value their physical and mental health the same way you do, is really important. And that way you don't have to feel guilty about it. Sneaking in a run or being 15 minutes late for work because you were exercising.
That is such an awesome point. A lot of companies and organizations are valuing mental health just like they are safety and any other high priority. So definitely a great point. And I guess when you have leadership that embraces that as well, yes, that certainly will help with managing all of this. So thank you, Becca. So one thing we wanted to make sure, as we're reflecting on your careers, we wanted to hear a little bit about what you would consider your best day at your job. And then what's been your worst day? Maybe something that you learned from. And actually, I'd like to start with you.
Sure. So in my profession, we spend a lot of time with our clients. It could be a year-long process of going through the design process to get a concept from the conceptual stage to the built finished product. And so I think the best day is the day that the project is done. We have given the project over to the client. The client is just, so excited that it is exactly what they thought it was going to be from the very beginning. What they had dreamed in their head was what was delivered. And so that's just so rewarding for us to get to that point, because it's blood, sweat, and even sometimes tears that gets us to the finish line. So I'll say that's probably the best day for me. Also recently, I've been really impressed with our high school seniors because they have been reaching out to us about mentoring, interested in the profession of architecture, wanting to know if they're interested in going into it. So in the past, not last year because of COVID, but 2019 and then currently, I've had 2 females that are seniors in high school that have come and kind of job shadowed me. And that's a really rewarding experience as well, just to be able to share my knowledge and kind of what I've learned and what I thought I knew and what I didn't really know, and kind of give them some insight on what they're getting themselves into, so they know if architecture is really what they want to go into. So that's pretty cool. My worst day, this was kind of difficult because I don't really know if I have pretty terrible days, but something that I've learned from, and I remember vividly as maybe one of my worst days at work, was I was asked to revise a drawing that somebody else had already started. And so it was a task that would have probably taken just a couple hours to do. And so I revised it, printed it out, and was ready to review it. And my boss was like, "What is this? This is all wrong." I'm like, "What?" Like, I was completely taken back. I'm like, I revised what you asked me to revise. And what I realized is the person that originally drew it did not draw it correctly from the beginning. So what I revised, I spent, say 3 hours on revising, was not correct in the beginning. So it's that age-old thing that don't ever assume, because you know what assuming does. That was definitely me, and it became real that day. But I would say that was probably my worst day and something that I learned from.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashley. So you're right. We all have those great days, and then there are those times, if we're honest and look back, where we've had an opportunity to learn. So thank you for sharing. I would love to hear from one of the other ladies on your best day and your worst day.
Yeah. This is Kelly. I'll be glad to talk about a great day. So one of the best days, and there's many of them, is really watching our associates as they develop, whether through their career path, whether it is on the front lines or whether it's in the management field, just really watching them grasp a hold of the development as we spend time with them to get them to their next level. Because as Crystal was talking about, this is our future. This is in the community. And the best days is seeing their goals come true, whether inside Anthem or outside of Anthem. I've had so many people that end up leaving for whatever reason, more opportunity. And they say, oh, I'm at TSIS, I'm at Synovus, I'm here, and I'm leading a team. And it's just so great those days when you see that success, and you see it everywhere. And those are the days that you go, yes, all of that time and effort, it paid off, and it's spread, right? It's awesome to see that, because it doesn't only stay in the workplace, it spreads out into the community. And that's really where we can see, everyone can see the fruits of the labor. And those are great, fabulous days. And, bad days, they happen, whether you've worked really hard to meet a goal and you miss it. And it's not because of your lack of execution. There may have been other things in the way. But I think one of the things that really stand out is working to take a calculated risk, and something that you step out for, especially in a leadership position as a woman, and you have a reason, it's defined, and you take that calculated risk, and it doesn't pan out like you plan, and it may fail, and those are bad days. I've had several of those, but it's understanding why you took that risk, explaining it, and then learning how to do it different next time, and not being afraid to fall, but having those other people in leadership, whether it is female or men, that support you and continue to lift you up and push you forward, that understand, that makes the difference. It makes those bad days that you learn from. And you got to continue with that path of letting others be able to have a safe place to make a calculated risk.
Well said. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about, if you never get nervous or never are uncomfortable, you're probably not growing. So it is so important. I agree with you to take those risks. And it is just a part of the process to fail sometimes. Oh, that was just wonderful. So each of you, the name of this segment is Women on the Rise. And so I would say, you all have shared about your tremendous accomplishments already, but because you're a part of this segment, we know that you will continue to grow in your career, your commitment to the community. And so before we wrap up, just really want to take some time to hear, what does your future look like? What do you see happening in your future?
So I would like to answer this question, and also a little, and I'm going to add to it because this question ties into the previous question also about your best and worst day. And so my work day, we never really stopped for the pandemic. So I've never really slowed down, because attorneys are considered, priority. And so we're essential. So our office never stopped, and I was coming in the office. I never worked from home. And if anything, I got busier. So I haven't slowed down. And so my future, I think, will be similar, is that I will have a full work day, continue doing commercial loans, closing. But my best day, on a really good day, is when I have happy clients. And Crystal knows this, that feeling when you get a loan closed, or you're in the middle of a transaction and an issue pops up, or you're on a kickoff conference call with all these fancy, expensive $1,000 hour New York attorneys, and you've done it successfully, or you've had a really good day. And the best feeling is when you get good feedback. Like when I get someone telling me that was the most efficient closing and easiest closing I've ever had, it is the best feeling. And also, like this week, I got an email from a bank president with an affiliate bank down south, and way south in Columbus. And he just texted or emailed me and said, that's why I use you, and that's why I continue to call you, because you've got my back. You've got my back. And I love that. Those are my favorite days. And then my worst type of work day, and I know I'll have these days in the future. And it's when you make a mistake. When you make a mistake, or you find something some language you wish you had added, or covenant you wish you had added in your loan documents, I kick myself a little bit. But I have to say that I'm definitely a better lawyer now than I was 10 or 15 years ago. And that is from learning from those mistakes. And not even just mistakes, but learning how to work more efficiently, quickly, avoiding things that drag out a closing, avoiding pitfalls. And so that is, my worst, but you can't beat yourself up about it. And I'm one of those people that are very critical of myself. And I have learned over the years that the teenage Linda graduating law school does not beat herself up as much. I want to learn from it. How do I learn from this, grow from this, and move on?
That's right. Thank you. Research bears out that for women in general, we tend to always want to have it together. So we may not apply for a job because we feel like we have to check every box and be perfect. And, making mistakes kind of goes against the female nature a little bit. But I appreciate you all sharing about taking risks. And when you do make a mistake or fail, that you learn from it, because it's so important that we take those risks. So thank you for that. I would love to hear from some of the other ladies. What does the future look like for you?
I can go ahead and share. The future for me, and I'd like to kind of preface it and go back a little bit and answer kind of why I'm involved in the community. I knew ever since I graduated college that I wanted to come back to Columbus and make a positive impact on the community where I grew up. I wanted to be involved in helping Columbus be the best place to live, work, play, and raise a family. I've always believed that you leave a place better than you found it. And through my profession, I feel like I can kind of help shape some of the spaces that'll foster community and that the public can really enjoy. So the future for me, I would say, is just continuing to stay involved with the civic aspect as well as what I'm getting to do through my profession. I do still need to sit for my architectural registration exam. So that's the big goal coming up. It's a series of 6 tests to be a licensed architect. So that's my big goal and I guess immediate future where I see myself. But I just want to stay connected to the big players in Columbus and continue to help move Columbus forward and everything that we offer.
Excellent. Thank you. So I feel like that is a good note for us to wrap up on. I wish I could really just sit and talk with you all for another hour. I do want to say thank you for your genuineness. You are all vulnerable in sharing some things from your background and your perspective, and that's really how we all get better. And so I feel like the audience will really find what you shared very beneficial, very authentic. So thank you for what you do, not only at your companies, but also what you do in this wonderful community. And it has just been a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. And with that, I will turn it back over to Amy.
Lisa, thank you so much for hosting us this afternoon. This has been incredible. I've been fortunate enough to watch a lot of these women grow in their careers and grow alongside them and connect with them. And this was an even deeper dive into your stories, and I really appreciated it. And I think I've learned a lot. Took some pretty good notes over here. Linda, I'm struggling with that whole alert thing, but maybe I'll get there one day. But thank y'all for your time and participating, and thank you for your contributions to Columbus. You are some very talented women, and we are so fortunate that y'all have chosen to call Columbus home. So Again, thanks for your contributions. Thanks to our sponsor, TSYS Global Payments, and all they do to support our women in business efforts. We hope everyone has a great day, and stay tuned for more in our series, The Future is Female. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Amy.